Hello and welcome back to the Fluent Finance Abroad podcast. Today we're in a fantastic spot in the mountains of Estepona. I'm here today with the owner and founder of a wonderful company called Villas and Fincas. I'm here today with Anita Schmidt, who founded the company in 2001, and we'll find out a little bit more about Anita, the company, and this spectacular property. Why don't we just start off and you can tell us a little bit about this beautiful property that we're sitting in.
That's okay. Thank you for inviting me for the interview. And when you asked me about it, I thought, well, can we do it instead of in your office in one of the properties that represents the portfolio of Villas and Fincas? And where we are now is it's somewhere in between a country property and a villa. It's a very comfortable home, about 10 minutes from the coast from Estepona, and that's what basically what you can't see. You can see it probably around you. You're in the middle of nature. You're completely private. You can hear the crickets, the grillos around you, and that is basically what my clients are looking for: peace, tranquility, privacy, and space around you. And here you're at easy reach of the coast. This is a villa that's been finalized around 2010, so it's to modern standards. It has 5 bedrooms, but it's very spacious setup. A beautiful courtyard, which we've seen earlier when we passed around, and another attractive add-on is the kitchen garden, which lots of my properties have to grow your own veggies and have your own fruits. It's on the market for 4.5.
4.5 million.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It's the first time I've been up this road, but I actually only live 20 minutes away. And so it's quite very easy for me to find, but it is spectacular. The views are stunning. And like you say, 10 minutes up the road and you're just in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. And then as easy, you can say, well, I've had enough of the hustle and bustle of the coast. I retrieve and go back to my country house to enjoy the peace and quiet.
It is spectacular. Yeah, no, you're right. So, okay, well, that's about this wonderful property. So, Anita, tell us your story.
Tell my story.
Yeah.
We came here in 2001, Oscar, my partner, and myself, plus my family, 3 girls. And we were escaping Holland because it was too busy, too crowded, no nature, and hardly any sunshine. I think lots of people share that with us. And my partner was already working in real estate, also here on the coast, but in Portugal and France, some in Holland. And we wanted to be on the countryside. For me, that was my biggest dream, to live on the countryside, be able to go on hikes from my doorstep, go horse riding with the girls when they were a little bit older on the fields around. And that's why we said, well, why don't we set up the real estate business then specifically for the countryside? There must be people that are just as crazy as we were. And we traveled around a lot, but every time we came back to Casares. Okay. And we chose Casares as our base, basically, to set up the company.
Perfect. And so you set up the company in 2001. What was the market like back then? You've asked me before, and I really had to think back how we did things in those days. There was a market for country property, but it was run completely different than now in these days. There were those corredores, that you call them, so people in villages that knew what could be for sale, and they made contact with estate agents on the coast. Robert Germaud at the time was a big one. I don't know whether you remember him. No. He was one of the agents that did a little bit in country properties, but there was no
professionalism, there was nothing. And when we arrived and opened an office, there was no office, no real estate office in Casares. That was little bit tricky because the corredores didn't like that.
Right.
Then we started a website and we published prices and things like that. That was also not done at all. But for us, that was the way forward. We had the first digital camera and went on the road to find the houses and to put them on the website. And if you compare that with nowadays, it's almost, you can't imagine that that's only 20 years ago.
No, they're completely different. So the internet was just starting off. I remember, you know, some of the photos that you'd see were pretty basic, wasn't there? And, But so what's it like now?
Now, well, over the years, so we started in Casares, expanded to Cuisine, expanded to Ronda, and basically bit by bit over the years we started to focus on a niche, even in the country property market, where we know our clients, so they're looking for comfortable properties. The privacy is very important. Accessibility to some kind of shops or healthcare not too far away, and not too far away can easily be 3/4 of an hour to an hour, but that's your base of living is settled. And they're difficult to find, but in Cuisine there are quite a lot of them. And from there we started expanding basically all over Andalusia. The maximum we will drive for a property is 4 hours, we've set. Right. Unless it's something really spectacular, then we are willing to go a bit further. But in general, it's a maximum of 4-hour drive that we do to a property. But it has to fit our specs, because we know what our clients are looking for.
And you mentioned the accessibility, and that's really important, isn't it, for you, I guess, for our clients. Our clients are international buyers, aren't they? They need to be connected to the world, and so internet access must be and have modern comforts. Yeah,
internet in the old days was a problem because we had a radio connection, and that was no good at all. With bad weather, it was not even available. But nowadays, it's no problem at all. You have Starlink, which provides internet everywhere, but also Movistar 5G or any company with 5G, they provide internet wherever you are.
I love this because, you know, I'm really interested in rural. I love rural Spain anyway, but to have the ability to escape from cities, from the busyness of your day to day, and come to somewhere so peaceful and still have the modern comforts, I think that's quite special. Yeah, quite unique.
Yeah. And there are, of course, different clients. Sometimes it's a weekend house, so they have an apartment or a property on the coast, but want to go somewhere for the weekends. Lots of Spanish families do that, of course. They have the Casa de Recreo, Finca de Recreo, they call it, and they come together with the whole family during weekends and spend that time there. Now we see that also the foreigners are going into that direction. They have their work on the coast, the kids go to school on the coast, but then in the weekends it's nice to be on the countryside. That's one type of client, but sometimes people just want to have a bigger estate for their family where they can walk around freely, and especially if they're famous people or they can't just walk on the streets in Marbella without the paparazzi following them, then a country estate is a nice option to just have a relaxed holiday as well with the family and friends.
I think that's important, the idea of family being together without having to worry about external factors and stuff. That's really good. That's a really good point. So what makes Villas and Fincas different from your traditional real estate agency, do you think?
What really makes us different is the niche we're working on. So we're really picky. I don't have 1,000 houses on my website. I may have 100 at the moment or 150 max, because we want to know them all. and it's for the whole sales staff as well. It's not that you get someone on the phone who doesn't know the property. Everyone has to have visited it and has to know the property, has to know the specifics of it. And I think that makes us quite different from lots of agents on the coast that put on the website whatever is available and whatever they can sell. We only we make a very tight selection of properties, of which we're a small agency as well. We're with 5 people and an extended staff around that, but 5 fixed. So we have to be selective. With no intention of growing to branches on other towns or no. This is what we do, and this is what we do well.
So you want to specialise in what you do,
yeah.
And so it's rather than quantity, it's more about quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned the 5 core. Are they all family members of yours?
No, they're not all family members, but over the years, 2 of my daughters have joined the crew, so that's nice. One is specialized in the videos and photography, more the creative part, and the other is on the the marketing side. She studied media in the new world, and she is setting up that whole part. And both are also involved with clients, because that's one of the things. Everyone in our office has to have contact with clients to get the feedback from the market as well, to know what we can do different, what we can improve, what information they're missing, etc.
Yeah. So how do you source your properties, and what do you look for in a property to pick?
I think with regards to sourcing, we're extremely lucky. The properties come to us.
Right.
Where I know there's a fight with agents on the coast to get the property in your portfolio. The vendors come to us. They find, well, if you search for country property Andalucia, you will find villas and fincas quite high up in the Google search. So in that perspective, we're really lucky. We got the most beautiful properties are just handed to us. People phone us or email us. And then to check whether it would suit us, it starts with a few things. It's, of course, the documentation on the property, whether it's property inscribed in the deed, whether they have had licenses, which is not always easy because some of the properties have been built in the 60s or 70s or 80s. So we have to dig into that. But the biggest thing is the location. It can even be a smaller property, but the location is always key. So if there are pylons running over the plot, no go. We don't take it on. Or a big telephone mast, that's not for us. If it's on a busy road, we don't take it on. We know that our clients, if they're buying on the countryside, they will buy because they're looking for the tranquility. So that's location is key. And from there we also look what is in the area, whether you have easy access to at least, even if it's a local shop, it doesn't matter, but there are shops in the area within 20 minutes drive, half an hour drive, and some entertainment like bars, local bars or restaurants where they can go to. There has to be some bit of life around it. And then if they come through the first paper check, basically, then we go and visit on site and discuss with the owners the further process of listing.
It's a really important point that you make, and this one that attracted me to your company, because in my day-to-day business we look at financing property, and over the years we've encountered a lot of issues or complexities with regards to rural fincas and rustic fincas like you sell.
Yeah.
So to hear you explain that you do a lot of due diligence on the property first is one of the reasons why I wanted to collaborate with you, because the last thing we want to do is try and finance a property that has some legal issues. But you do all of that first before you list the property, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's otherwise, it's what I said.
Pointless.
Sometimes we drive 4 hours. Well, I'm not going to drive 4 hours if the property is not properly registered, and then find out when we're dealing and trying to get a contract in place.
What do you say to potential vendors about how they should market their property? Do you have any specific requirements at all?
How they should market? Well,
Yeah. I'm thinking of one person in particular that, they kind of were a bit reluctant to do video and things. Do you understand? You know where I'm
I
coming
understand
from?
what you mean. So if you look at our marketing, there are people who are asking to have it in discreet sale.
Right.
That is difficult for us. I think if you're on the coast it might be easier, but for us it's difficult because every property attracts its own public. And we have to put it online, we have to advertise it. Our way of marketing, we do a full photo shoot, we do a full video shoot, we even do a walkthrough video. We help the vendors to stage their house up to a certain limit, not everything. Sometimes we ask a stager, a specific stager to help us out before, because that is key. Sometimes when people are looking at the pictures or the videos, they sometimes are looking at the couch or the flowers and forget the whole perspective of the property. So we try to catch the way of living in our presentation. It's absolutely necessary to do that full presentation. It's very difficult to attract the right clients for a property through another property that is completely different. So that is there. I have maybe 2 discrete sales, and that's we notice, and the owners know that it's almost impossible to get it sold that way.
Yeah, yeah. One thing that you mentioned there, 20 years ago, the whole video walkthrough, impossible. Has that technology helped you?
Oh, definitely. I think we were the first ones who had a drone, flying with drones. And for in the property that we sell, it's when they came out and they were affordable, we were like, hooray! Now we don't have to find a mountain far away from the property to take a picture and see actually the whole property. So, and even that's flying with a drone over the property, and it gives you such a better insight. That's for one, and we are now on drone number 8 or 10. I don't even know anymore. They get smaller and better, and it gives the client, because they're always abroad.
Yes.
Most of them, they have to fly in, so you want to give them the most broad information that we can. We started with the walkthrough videos. I think 3 years ago. I didn't like the 360 cameras, but we knew that clients want to see a little bit more than the photos, and then we started to experiment with the walkthrough as if you're doing a viewing, not with the agents, what others do with a lot of talk. No, it's just showing the property as you would see it at the viewing. And I have clients now, when they fly in, sometimes they come specifically for one house, and they say, Anita, you don't have to show me the house. I know it. I'll show it to you because I've seen it at least 10 times.
Of course. Wow.
Yeah. So that's a really, really good tool, I find.
So imagine you could be sitting in Dubai, for example, or LA,
Yeah.
and you can see the house on video.
Yeah.
And it's just a case of coming to the property, getting a feel for the area. Right?
Exactly.
That's amazing. That must be really helpful.
And it's a fantastic tool, yeah.
So what kind of people own property like this, or what kind of buyers are you attracting?
Yeah, owners and buyers are quite similar,
they
of course.
They are similar, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a difference. Most of the time, it's if you're looking at the larger properties and the estates, it's people who have closed their business or are semi-retired and want to enjoy the good weather in Spain and have a place to join with friends and family. Not very. If you look at mortgages, they don't need a mortgage,
Yeah.
but very often they would like to have a mortgage to not put all their, or a lot of their assets in there, and also just to spread a little bit of the risk.
If the rates are good enough,
Exactly.
the
It's
types
more-
of clients
Yeah.
that buy this type of property are pretty financially literate,
Yeah.
so they understand that if the
Yeah.
rates are good, then
Exactly.
leveraging an asset, a property asset,
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah.
They also understand that the bank will do their due diligence on the property as well.
Yeah. Most of the time they have a very good profile, so it's easy for you to close that one, I hope.
Yeah. Okay. No. Easier. Let's say it's just easier. Now, obviously, your business, like my business, it must have changed since the pandemic.
Yeah.
Have you seen an
Yeah.
uptick in inquiries
Yeah. Yeah.
for the more rural sort of life?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think the summer after the lockdown, I've never worked as hard in my life as that July and August, which normally is not our peak season in the on the countryside. But suddenly people could fly in, and especially for country properties, they to have that freedom and that space. If there's ever a lockdown, you can even stay on. Again, you can stay on your property, or you can walk on the country roads, and it doesn't feel like you're closed in your house. And it's still. We also noticed from the wars, for example. But that's all over the coast. Eastern Europeans want to come here. But what we also see is people who think the world is changing and they want to be completely independent.
Yeah.
That's something new. Also inspired by COVID, that you have your own water supply. Many of the properties have their own well, like here. You have solar panels with batteries and maybe a backup generator, and you don't need the electricity. You have land to grow your own vegetables and have your fruit trees. You can have some chickens. You can have a piggy running around if you want to, or some sheep, and you can be fully independent. And that is a question that I get since COVID quite regularly.
Yeah. I mean, just in this villa here, you were showing me, you were taking me around the at the back there, the vegetable patch.
Yeah.
You know, they're growing their own
Yeah.
produce on the land.
Yeah.
Which is quite something.
Yeah.
And recently we had a full power cut, didn't we? In
Yeah.
the whole of Spain and France and Portugal. Now that wouldn't have affected this villa because it's got its own power system.
Yeah.
So it's quite attractive, and you've got the internet and everything else like that. So it's almost.
You can be fully independent,
but still connected at the same time, which is pretty important, especially if you run your own business internationally or whatever. So you can escape but still be connected.
Yeah, the types of property we put them together on the lifestyles that our clients have. So we have properties that are close to the coast, like this one. But also, if you look at Ogen or Casares, Manilva, Estepona is difficult, but they are within 20 minutes, half an hour reach of the coast. And those properties normally, this is an exception in Estepona, that you can't see a house in a kilometer, I think, around you. But most of the time, if they're closer to the coast, they're a bit closer together. The size of 10,000 square meter of land, more or less. This one has 6 hectares, so 60,000. But that means that you're living on the countryside, but you're not isolated. You have neighbors. If there's something, you can also always call someone, and that gives a little bit of more security for some people. It's also that you have the coast close, so the kids can go to school, you can go to work if you work there. So that's one type of profile. Where you still live on the countryside, you go on hikes in the morning or with your dog just from your doorstep into the mountains, but you have all the facilities of the coast close by. Then the next step up is that you say the coast, I'm not bothered with it. I might go once every 2 weeks, maybe to do some big shopping, but I prefer to be in authentic Andalusia. If you go a little bit further inland, you will see that the houses will be bigger as well, and the plots of land most of the time are also can be between 3 and 10 hectares, sometimes more.
Right.
And then you're talking about an hour, more or less. You still have the community feel in the villages, but that's definitely a different lifestyle, where they choose to be away from the crowds. And then there is the next step up for the bigger estates. The country estates. I've one in my books now with 1,000 hectares. We sold one with 3,000 hectares, and they are nowhere near the coast. Right. Absolutely not. And that's sometimes it's families that want to do some hunting, or they want to grow olives, or they have horses and do horse breeding, things like that. That's completely that is a niche within a niche, basically.
So what about bodegas for wines and things?
Wineries as well.
Wow.
So we've also sold a few of those, but if it's in my books, it has to have a good house. So it's someone who wants to live on a property and runs the winery or has a vineyard. But that's always a hobby, because the value of the house is more than the business will basically bring you. To give an example, there's one in my books now. It's a nice cortijo. It has 3 hectares, 3.5 hectares of vines. They run a winery as well. There's wine tasting. It's in Ronda. Wine tasting is very important. They make a lovely wine, actually. But if you look at that as a business model, you could, but then you can't live there. Then you really have to exploit the house and have to maybe buy more grapes, because 3.5 hectares will give you around 15,000 bottles a year.
Yeah.
And that's a business, but you can't live off it.
No.
It gives you a nice extra income, or it covers the running cost of the property. That's the way to look at it. One American bought a vineyard, and he's actually successful business-wise as well, because he had his contacts in the States. I don't know how that runs now, but he exported all his wine to the States. And there, if you can buy a bottle of 50 euros, that's cheap, or $50, that's cheap. So he really built up a nice boutique business, but
it's also pretty cool to say that I've got my winery in the south of Spain, isn't it?
Yeah, that's most of the time the case.
That is pretty cool to say that.
Yeah.
What kind of checks do you insist on doing before you go any further with a particular property? What are the steps that you go through?
Yeah, the first one is that we check the nota simple, the extract from the deed. Of course, that's what everyone does, to see whether the owner is really the owner.
You'd be
to
surprised.
Start with.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
Not everyone does it.
No. Whether there are charges on the property, and also to see how it is registered. Nowadays, that's no longer enough. The law has changed several times since, I think the first time was 2006, but it's specifically on the countryside where building is very restricted, almost impossible. So you can check that it's registered, so you have a legal house, but it doesn't mean that you have the use of the house. So when we think it's an interesting house for us, we dig a little bit deeper and go into how it's built. Did they have a license? Is there a primera ocupación, the occupation license, which is almost never there?
Yeah.
This house has one, which is it's rare on the countryside, because in the old days the town halls didn't even know it existed. They gave the license and then that was it.
Yeah.
No one followed up. Nowadays, then you officially would have to follow up and regularize it. So you have a legal house because it is registered, but you have to regularize it for the town hall, in front of the town hall, and that's called an AFO or a SAFO or DAFO.
Yeah.
That's where you say, okay, it's allowed. I can't find the right word for it, but the town hall stamped it off. So if it's on the land registry, then you have your legal title,
That's
but
right.
sometimes you don't have the legal use because they didn't finalize the process.
Right.
But if it's not registered, then we know, or if not correctly registered, then we have the conversation that the vendor has to go into that process. And if they're not willing to do it, and it's a really substantial difference, we don't take it on.
So that's massive for me. That's really good for me to hear this.
Yeah.
Because from a mortgage perspective, the bank will do their due diligence to ensure that the property has legal title and it is legally there and correct. And to hear you, a real estate agent, saying that you won't take a property on unless it is correctly registered, that's amazing. That's why we as a company like working with Villas and Fincas. Yeah. Because there won't be any nasty surprises when we actually send the valuer around.
No, and the same goes for my clients. Because for if you live here long enough in Spain, you know that not everything is 100%. But if you come from abroad, you have no idea. You expect everything to be 100% correct. Yeah. So I try to prepare them that 100% is a lot to ask in Spain, but 95% we're aiming for. Yeah. And if it's 100%, then we're lucky. Yeah. And we do come across properties that have everything in place.
Yeah, and it's otherwise it's a bit of a waste of time, isn't it? Really?
It is, and for all of the parties. Yeah. Because I can be driving around with clients. Well, they have to get to know areas as well. Sometimes they've seen a picture and think it's nice. Cuisine is nice, but when we go there, they think, well, maybe this is still too busy for me. I would like to, let's try and explore Ronda as well. Mm-hmm. So I can be 3-4 days en route with clients, and if they don't finally find a house and it doesn't have the papers, then I haven't done a good job for my clients.
And I wish all agents did that, if I'm honest. It would save a lot of time.
It would save a lot of time, yeah.
Because let me explain. The bank surveyor will only value what is legally registered on the land registry. Yep. So if your house is 2,000 square meter built physically, but only 1,000 square meters is registered, the bank will only value the 1,000 square meters. Yep. They may in fact find there could be an issue with the extra 1,000. So please, if you're selling a property, make sure it's registered correctly before you bring it to market. That's a bank valuation. What's your recommendation on getting a structural survey? Do you get one yourself before you market, or would you advise the clients to get one themselves?
No, over the years you get a little bit of experience. The obvious things you see, of course, and you ask the vendors to repair. Or at least to find out what the origin is, so that we have information for the clients that come and visit. But we always recommend the purchaser, when we've come to an agreement, we normally drop a reservation contract, as everyone does, and it's subject to reservation. You get 3-4 weeks to drop the private purchase contract, and in these 4 weeks they can do the technical survey on the house and the legal due diligence. And if something pops up unexpected, then of course the reservation fee will be returned to them. But we see a lot, but we don't see everything.
No.
And it's for legal and technical. It can be that a legal issue pops up that we weren't aware of, but we try to cover the majority up front, but we'll never put the client on the spot and say, no. They have to do their own due diligence. Yeah.
Totally, and especially on villas and things like that, I think it's so important to get a technical structural survey done, because you need to check the roof, you need to check the foundations for any issues, and that needs to due diligence be done before you actually go ahead and buy, because after that.
And it's if you spend so much money, why leave that out?
Yeah,
exactly.
No, 100%. Yeah. Do you assist clients with permits once, with permits for refurb or renovations?
Yeah, well, we don't do that ourselves, but we have an extended network of people we collaborate with. It's the lawyers, of course, who know the legislation on rustic land, which is important. Not everyone is aware that it's a little bit different from urban land. Architects, aparejadores, so technical engineers, designers, interior designers, landscapers. We have an extended network of people that we can recommend without any hesitation, that have done good jobs before. Also, that's in our job, the agricultural engineers, for example. If you have a vineyard or you have an olive grove, and it's nice that someone checks on that as well, and how can you expand it, or is it worthwhile? So basically all over Andalusia we have people we collaborate with. We don't do it in-house.
That's good.
Yeah.
So what is it, do you think, about the Andalusia that makes it special? What attracts people to Andalusia?
What not, Mark? What not? I'm in love with Andalusia. You can easily say that. We see different parts. We travel all around Andalusia. We come in places that I would never have seen if I wasn't having this job. And it's the warmth of the people. So not only the sun, but the warmth of the people. The mix of the cultures you will find if you have it on the coast. It's the international melting pot, basically. But if you look at the Andalusian people themselves, it's also a mix of culture. And you find it in their houses, in their food, in their hospitality. There's always this warmth, and invite you to join their parties, the ferias, the romerias. I don't know whether you've ever been to one of those. But that spirit of Andalusia, that's what makes me want to live here, and what I want to share with my clients, and what I feel or see that they are looking for as well. So if I meet up with clients who have bought 15 years ago in Ronda, for example, they are now part of that Ronda community, and they're invited for the feria. They go dancing till late at night. Sometimes they even join in the processions. So you don't have to, but you can if you want to, and they embrace you. Wherever you come from, basically.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right. Andalusia, the people in Andalusia are extremely open.
Yeah.
They have a lot to say for themselves. They've got beautiful stories to tell, and the way that they make things, the way they cook things, it's an experience. And the quality of just life in general, the produce. This weekend I was in Sevilla, which is only 2 hours away, with the family.
Yeah.
And it's completely different. You get a whole different vibe. You could go to Cordoba. You can go even the difference between Marbella and Estepona is quite
already,
interesting.
Yeah.
And that's only 20 minutes away.
And the food is so good wherever you go. There's always home cooked meals. We often stop when we're traveling around. We stop somewhere for lunch with the clients, and we found fantastic restaurants that you would never know about. The one specifically I would like to mention, it is in a village which is not the most attractive one, Alcalá del Valle, half an hour north of Ronda. And we always went to a little restaurant there, Mesón Sabor Andaluz. We had a few properties around Alcalá, and it was so nice. Always good food, Spanish kitchen, but so well cooked. And later on we found out that the chef had come back. He had worked in a Michelin star restaurant, but his father was ill and he took over the restaurant. And since last December, so in a village that no one knows, he got a Michelin star.
Wow.
So it's definitely recommended to go there. It's fantastic.
I'll get that information from you, actually. That sounds amazing. But it's the quality of the produce, isn't it?
Exactly. He sources everything locally.
It's not just him, but I can source.
Yeah.
I drive up to Benavis and there's someone on the side of the road selling local produce, tomatoes, which you've never seen before. I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that is really quite special. So moving along, we're nearly at the end. So you must have had lots of success stories, but is there one that you could tell us about?
But there's actually one in Alcalá del Valle. Why would I drive up there? That was, for me, that is the most amazing project done by the vendor, which I've ever sold. The vendor bought a ruin of an old fortress. And it was a fortress from the taxpayer during the times of the Reyes Católicos. And it was completely in a ruin. He restored it. It took him 10 years at least to restore the building, the grounds. What was left of the grounds was, of course, in the old days much bigger. And it was such a beautiful property. From the outside, it looked exactly what it was at the time. And from the inside, it was, rustic finish, but with underfloor heating, with basically every comfort of living that you would ask nowadays. And he had planted the olive groves around it, a big orchard, fruit orchard. That was a spectacular property. Absolutely one of a kind.
One of a kind, unique.
Yeah.
So you do get to work on once in a lifetime deals, right?
And then we hope to find another one, but unfortunately there are only a few of those available.
Future outlook?
The market is changing. It's very overheated at the moment, and it has to do partly with COVID, partly with what's happening in the world. And we notice that we don't have enough properties on the countryside to, if I look what people are asking for, I don't have it in my books. And sometimes they have to work with what we have and change that, because it's very difficult to build. Having said that, the law has changed a little bit, and that's what we're looking into now, also with property owners and investors, to see whether we can create that type of property that is wanted by lots of clients. And they're asking for the typical cortijo style, for example, as this house is built around a courtyard. And it can be with a touch of modern in it, that it's more Ibiza style or very typical Andaluz. But that is a property type that people are looking for. And it's just, if I have it, it's gone within no time. So we're looking into that, whether we can, under the new law, whether we can develop that. That's on the property side. And on the marketing side, we keep working on new techniques, and we're studying now how we can integrate AI into our website. Yeah. Because for us, it's not only the property; it's the whole umfeld, the whole lifestyle setting, and to just find kind of a tool that helps people to pinpoint what would work for them.
Yeah.
That's 2 things that we're busy with to develop for the future.
Perfect. And I see it from our business, inquiries about rural and rustic and campo properties is definitely on the up. And that finally leads, so the demand is there, we know that, the product could be developed. So when a client comes to you and says, look, I'm interested in buying, but I'm a bit nervous about investing so much of my own money, you talk to them about mortgage finance. What do you do when they come to you asking, how do I finance this?
But I give them your address, of course, and telephone number. And on rustic property, as you know, it's different from country property. So our first thing is that we tell them that they have to count to bring 50% themselves.
Yep.
Because on rustic property, 60, sometimes 70%, but average is 60%. So if you add the 10% purchase cost, 50% you have to fund yourself. That is the start. And then we look at the type of property as well, because although you have solved the case, bravo, from a B&B, if it's a business, it makes it even more complicated.
It certainly does. Because
then it's not a normal home, but you have to show that there is some business income. And of course, it's not the income of the new owner, it's from the former owner, who doesn't always want to share their books with everyone.
No.
So we do a little bit of preparation and then pass them on to you, and hopefully with they're pre-classified as well for you, because if it's and that helps us as well, that you have the double check. If it's not possible, then it's better to stop that at the beginning.
We find that it's there are banks that are willing to co-fund or co-invest with end users on these types of property, but we would really like it if the clients did some mortgage work before they actually started making offers on particular properties. So that the sooner they come to us, the sooner we can prepare the application, do some due diligence on potential valuations to make sure that everything runs through smoothly, and that we can coach the client as well as to what to expect, because not every bank in Spain likes to lend on rustic properties.
No.
So we need to be careful as to how we approach this, which lenders we approach. And each lender will have a specific profile that they're looking for. So not every profile is going to fit that particular. So there's a lot of work that goes into this.
But what you say about the pre-approval, that is basically key.
It's fundamental.
Because otherwise you can't step into a deal and hope that it will all fall into place.
There's a lot of factors that could go wrong on a Finca rustic inland property. The size of the prices of them make it important. But the fact that there are less lenders, and lenders are a bit more choosy with regards to the asset, then it needs to be treated with care. And for the last 20 years we've dedicated our lives to understanding how to finance these things, and this is why I think this collaboration between our two companies is fantastic. And I really do appreciate the level of detail you've gone into with our clients in the past, and the level of detail you've gone into today, Anita. I think it's testament to you and your business. I think I'm done. Have I missed anything?
I don't think so.
No?
It was a very nice conversation.
Thank you very much. And thank you very much for finding us this beautiful location, not too far from my house. But look, here we are. And we could be in the middle of Andalucia, but we're only 10 minutes away from Estepona. How wonderful is that?
Exactly.
Well, thank you very much, and see you again soon.
Thanks, Mark.